Yesterday was a seemingly monumental day for Grand Theft Auto fans as Rockstar Games finally announced that they are working on the next entry in the series, most likely GTA 6. Everybody seems to be excited, but, and I hate to do this, there's actually very little reason why you should be. On the contrary, you should be very worried for this game. Alright, so I heard about this yesterday just like everybody else, and I've took the last 24 hours writing a fuckload of notes. Like, this is an essay essentially, but it's basically everything off my chest, and it's basically two videos that I'd already planned added together essentially. So yeah, without further ado, let's actually get to reading this. So if you guys are gonna wonder why I'm looking down a lot or whatever, I have a lot written, a lot typed up about this situation. I feel like I need to get my point across because not a lot of people are really, you know, getting the points that I want across, put across, you know? Anyway, so, first things first, let's take a gander, have a waltz down memory lane back to 2019. Red Dead Redemption 2 had just released in late 2018 and was the biggest project ever, bar none. No open world game has ever, or had ever, come close, or will ever probably, come close to being as big and most importantly dense, full of content as RDR2. You may have already heard other YouTubers such as Some Ordinary Gamers reference this as a "this excites me" kind of thing, when in reality it literally means nothing. No disrespect to you, Mudahar, but bro, it means absolutely nothing. Red Dead Redemption 2 is not a factor here. Why? Because the creative minds behind Red Dead Redemption 2, and as far back as past Grand Theft Auto 3, so the original Grand Theft Autos, are gone. The most famous among them being Dan Houser and Laszlo Jones. I personally have reason to believe that the last thing these guys worked on was Red Dead Online's beta, laying the foundations for A Land of Opportunities, which was a DLC for Red Dead Online, released in, I think, June 2019? Somewhere around there. Not as important, but either way, they were gone by then. So we now entered the age of modern Rockstar, which has been around for a while as a slow poison spreading through the company, and everybody knew about it, but people were mostly ignoring it. It wasn't fully cemented until after RDR2's release. This company is a shadow of its former self. Personally, I think Rockstar / Take-Two are worse than EA at this point. We all know about GTA Online. I don't have to go into that game's issues, but basically, the only major updates they've really dropped since Hauser and Laszlo left are the casino update, which Dan and Laszlo probably built the foundations for anyway, just like A Land of Opportunities, and the contract, which serves as the only major update for GTA Online post Dan and Laszlo. Red Dead Online hasn't gotten anything big since late 2019, so you're telling me that y'all would put your trust, y'all getting excited, would put your trust into a company for a game as big as GTA 6 when they don't even know that putting as much effort into Red Dead Online as they do for GTA Online would almost double their profits. It's just, you're just blind and delusional, and I really hope there are people out there who don't forget about everything surrounding this announcement, everything beforehand in the last 9 years, bro. Damn near a decade we've been dealing with this. So since those key figureheads left Rockstar, the only true major piece of content we've gotten is a slightly modified port of a PS3 / Xbox 360 game. That's just stupidity. And I'm talking expanded and enhanced, especially since they surely knew about the backlash that game's trailer has received. That's coming out next month, by the way. Like, they are dead set on putting this thing out. Horrible. Just like, yeah, so they surely knew about the backlash that expanded and enhanced received. Just like they know about the backlash to ignoring Red Dead Online and the hashtag that it has spawned. The professional said it best, people. This announcement is nothing but a deflection to please investors, taking the spotlight from the dumpster fire that is their ignorance to hashtag Save Red Dead Online, from the downright scam that was the definitive editions. And I hate saying that because I loved playing through GTA 3 with the minimal improvements, and the same goes for Vice City. For those very reasons that I've listed so far, you should be exponentially worried about Grand Theft Auto 6. But just in case that isn't enough for you, let me direct your attention to the news that made its rounds just a few months ago. November 2021. Look it up for yourself. GTA 6 is currently in development hell. They've restarted development twice. Not once, twice. They've rewritten the story and other gameplay elements, and I quote, too many times. Since 2019. That's not even that long ago. For game development, that is not long. This is why Dan Houser left. He outright said he left because of creative differences as well as the harsh schedule. Creative differences. And I quote, GTA 6 is the most chaotic project Rockstar has ever developed. Bear in mind, this news came out just a few months ago in November. This isn't old news. And it makes the definitive editions look even worse in hindsight when you read the same article from DSOgaming.com where it says that Take-Two were originally planning to announce the game in 2020. That's 2 years ago, bro. 2. So the release of the trilogy was rushed to please investors. It's all coming together, you know? It's all painting a big picture to the point that announcing this now is actually making Rockstar look worse if you just put a microscope to it, bro. Not even it doesn't have to be a strong microscope. You just have to have been around in the community in the last 4 months and you can see this all painting a picture, all coming together. They did it, they rushed it to please investors, to please Take-Two, because they failed to make a stable start to GTA 6. As much as I enjoyed GTA 3 and Vice City's definitive editions, I'm not afraid to say that they are literally the same games with more modernized controls, a much needed aim assist, and a port to Unreal Engine 4. They probably didn't even take a year to develop these games, let's be real. They just ported it because the same issues in the originals persist in the remasters. Character models are rushed, etc. You could tell they did not spend that much time on this game. Some people have said they spent over a year to a couple of years working on these, but they surely can't have. They surely can't have. These are just glorified mods, you know? I like what they did with GTA 3 and Vice City, do not get me wrong, and I can acknowledge that they should be a lot better, but I'm fine with what we got in terms of Vice City and GTA 3 anyway. I really, really enjoyed them, but I'm gonna be honest, we should have gotten a lot better. But you know what? Looking at all this, in hindsight, I feel so sorry for the employees of Grove Street Games because they've gotten so much hate for this when the blame should be pointed straight at Rockstar and Take-Two for putting such a monumental task upon just 20 odd employees, you know? People are really hating on Grove Street Games when these guys, honestly, they were given such an impossible task. They really do not deserve the hate. These games could have been a lot worse. Yes, they fucked up a lot on San Andreas, but in terms of Vice City and 3, they did perfectly fine. I mean, certain female models for Vice City look off to this day, but other than that, like, bro, that's an issue you can look past. It's not the most important thing, you know? That's something that can definitely be fixed as well. It's really not a big issue. I'm really enjoying these games, you know? I'm still playing through Vice City and enjoying it to the fullest. I really enjoyed playing through GTA 3, etc. But yeah, you know what? And like I've just said, they did a fucking good job on GTA 3 and Vice City with the time they were given before anybody starts hating. With the time they were clearly given, which I'm assuming was under a year, because these games were made in 2021. They wanted to announce it in 2020, so it only makes sense that they started, you know, developing these late 2020, something like that, when they realized they're not going to be able to get GTA 6 out. Like, bruh, it's all coming together, and it's literally painting a big complete picture, and it makes Rockstar and Take-Two look so bad. And honestly, the more I learn about this, the more I realize Grove Street Games just aren't at fault here. They did their best, and they did a decent job. They fucked up in big areas, sure, especially with San Andreas, but it's all fine now for the most part. They've changed a lot of the models, you know. It's worth buying now, in my opinion. Maybe on Switch it still needs fixing, but in my opinion, it's definitely worth buying. It was never worth 60 quid, don't get me wrong. It was only worth, like, say 30 or 40 quid. But either way, like, it's decent, okay? Like, you can ignore all the hate videos for it now, because most of those issues that you'll find in those videos have now been fixed. But yeah, of course, this was rushed, because Rockstar and Take-Two are greedy for money, and I think everybody knew that already, but I feel the need to reiterate that, because everybody's getting so excited for this, when really you shouldn't be. They don't give a fuck about you. I remember certain members of Grove Street Games tweeting their excitement for the definitive editions to come out. That's more interaction in a month than Rockstar have done for the past decade. For the past decade. Because they fucking cared. You know? They got such an impossible task put onto them, but they clearly cared, and they were excited for the games to come out. I remember those tweets. They were fans, just like us. Yes, the definitive editions aren't good enough, but the blame should not be on Grove Street Games, because they were given the short end of the stick. An impossible task. If Rockstar / Take-Two really gave a damn, they would have given Grove Street Games access to the Rage engine, the one used for GTA 4 and 5, and asked them to only focus on GTA 3 for its 20th anniversary. And then eventually in 2022 we get Vice City, and then in 2024 you'd get San Andreas, etc. And everybody would have been happy, and Rockstar would have made a lot more money in the long run, quite frankly. You know what they would have done? They would have put all of those up for 60 quid. $60, whatever you want to say. And they would have made more money, because they, I don't have to explain it. But they're so out of touch. Fuck that. They don't care. They really just don't care. And I feel sorry for the employees at Rockstar who've actually wanted to work on GTA 6 for years, who want to work on Red Dead Online, who probably wanted to work on the definitive editions themselves to help Grove Street Games. But no. Take-Two and the heads at Rockstar Games only see the money GTA Online rakes in, so they want to re-release it again. A straight scam. A lot. I know it's a lot, but there's a lot to get off my chest here, and I wanted to, like I said at the beginning of the video, I'm covering multiple video ideas in one that I wanted to do. And yeah, I know we went slightly off topic, but there's so much evidence surrounding GTA 6 that are already showing the signs of what's happening within it. At best, Grand Theft Auto 6 will most likely be among the weakest in the series and Rockstar's first major failure. Yeah, it will most likely also be the highest selling game of all time, but trust me, there will most likely be monumental failures that will cause people to go to previous entries, or worse, go to their competitors. Saints Row is releasing a reboot soon, and if that game turns out to be very good, despite what people think of the trailers, Rockstar and GTA 6 will be in trouble. Don't even get me started on if Ubisoft suddenly decides to get their act together and release a big budget, carefully crafted, polished Watch Dogs game. A Watch Dogs 1 remastered with next-gen graphics, a fully fledged online, more fleshed out story. Personally, I think the game is already on par with GTA on 5. And a more honest marketing campaign would literally put GTA 6 on very thin ice, slightly above dangerous waters. Rockstar Games and Take-Two really need to get their act together pronto, because all the evidence of modern, post-Dan and Laszlo era Rockstar we've gotten is disappointment after disappointment. And that's why you should be very worried about Grand Theft Auto 6.